Hi, Alyssa here. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you 6 things I have done differently with my second child that I did not do with my first. So I'll start by saying that I did not plan to do anything differently with my second child than my first. I thought I did a really good job with my first. She grew, she was healthy, she's smart, she was thriving. I had no plans of doing things differently with my second. I thought, I'm a good mom. I'm doing a great job. But some things did go differently, and I did make different decisions for my second child than my first, and I'm going to share those with you today. The first thing I did differently was starting with his birth. I had a doula. And I didn't really plan on this, but I am so glad that I did have a doula. My hospital provides doulas, which is amazing. Every hospital should do that. Well, except for the private doula. The private doulas need to make money too, and there certainly is a benefit to having a private doula because you can meet them beforehand. The doulas at the hospital are like first come, first serve, and they're on call and you don't know who you're gonna get, kind of like your OB, you know? But I got a doula and she was amazing. I didn't meet her until I was in labor, and I'm so thankful for her. Her name is Sue. Sue, I love you. You're amazing. You'll probably never watch this, but I love you. I was so much more calm and confident having my second child than I was with my first. The labor went way more smoothly, and I am just so thankful for that experience. So that is the first thing that I had differently from my firstborn. Okay, so the second thing that I have done differently is I cloth diaper. I actually started cloth diapering my first child whenever she was 2 years old. I started using cloth diapers at night, and that's because I had gone through all of the diapers. I have used every brand, and she was always getting diaper rashes. And then whenever she was 2, she started using pull-ups at night, and the pull-ups were horrible. And she would have almost looked like burns around her legs whenever she woke up in the morning from the pull-ups. And I was like, forget this. We're gonna cloth diaper. So I got some used cloth diapers from a consignment event, and I started cloth diapering then. And I decided to continue cloth diapering with my son. So we got another haul of used cloth diapers, and it works great. I will link those, the haul and how I wash my diapers. I'll link those in the description box below the video if you're interested in that. That's something that I've done differently. The third thing that I did differently was that I made homemade baby food. With my first, I did start with jarred foods and jarred baby foods and stage 1 and stage 2. And with my second, a few things happened. The pandemic hit whenever he was starting to eat, and I just didn't see the point in buying baby food. I was home, and so I would just puree some vegetables and throw it in an ice cube tray, and I have a video on that as well. I will link that in the description box as well if you want to see how I did that, how I made his baby food. But I think I made some baby food for my first, but I had a lot of baby jars left over from all this baby jar food that I fed my firstborn, and I never ever fed my second jarred baby food. Really, it was just because I was home and there was a pandemic and I was never on the go. But also, he doesn't like the pouches. He just never really took to the pouches. It was just he would wear them. He wouldn't eat them. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. Okay, so the third thing I did differently was I didn't use any Milestone apps with my second. I think probably I was just it's not that I wasn't focused on his milestones or watching him for milestones in any way. It's just that I was taking him to his checkups. I kind of had a good idea of how he should be doing because of my firstborn, and I just wasn't very obsessive about has he done this yet? Has he done that yet? And I thought if he, there's some things that he's kind of lagging in or he's not ahead in, and it's okay, he's gonna get there. We'll just, keep doing the things and, reading to him and having him play with the toys and feeding him and giving him the attention he needs, and he will thrive. He will get there. He will reach the milestones. We're in no rush. So I really wasn't tracking and comparing this time around. So that is something that I did differently that I didn't plan on doing differently. Also, just having like 2 children, you don't have as much time for that, I think, too. Okay, so number 5, what I did differently with my second is that I did not stress the schedule. I did try for a schedule. I do try for a schedule every day, but whenever it doesn't go as planned, I don't stress about it. And this kind of just happened naturally. I realized with my first that I can do all the things and, you know, just like have the whole schedule like perfectly, and then if she doesn't sleep through the night, but she was supposed to because I did all of these things, and the night before it worked, and then this time it didn't, and it's okay. If the schedule doesn't work out, it could be teething, it could be a growth spurt, it could just be because he's a growing person and he has a mind of his own and he's gonna do what he wants to do. And sometimes the schedule just doesn't go as planned. Sometimes things don't go perfectly. Oftentimes they don't, and that's okay. So if I have a day or a stretch of a few days where my schedules are perfect and on point, and baby sleeps when baby's supposed to sleep, and eats when he's supposed to eat, and plays when he's supposed to play, and it's just great, I just embrace it. I soak it all in, and I'm thankful for it, but I don't hold on to it because I know teething, a growth spurt, a something is coming, and there are going to be days again whenever it doesn't all go perfectly. So just give yourself grace, give your baby grace, just keep on trucking. You know, you're gonna have more good days in the future, so if you have a bad day, don't sweat it. The 6th thing I did differently with my second child than I did with my first is exclusively breastfeed. My daughter was exclusively on breast milk, but I did pump with her. I pumped and gave her some bottles, and I would have a bottle for whenever we went out to a restaurant or when she went to church nursery or whatever. And I didn't do that with my second. My son has never had a bottle. At 5 months old, I did try to get him to have a bottle because I had a doctor's appointment he couldn't go to because of COVID. He wasn't allowed to come with me, and so he wouldn't take a bottle. So what I did was I just nursed him. I went to the appointment, I came back, and then I nursed him again, and it worked out just fine. But he was exclusively breastfed, and I think that happened because he did have kind of a shallow latch. His mouth is kind of small, and so I was afraid he was going to prefer a bottle over breastfeeding. And so for the first few weeks, I did not introduce a bottle at all. And then whenever he was 8 weeks old, we decided to sell our house and move. And so then it was just kind of like chaos, and I was like, I don't have time for the pumping and the bottle washing and all the things. So I just breastfed, and then he was 4 months old before we got moved into our new house. And so it was just kind of chaos, and I didn't have time for the bottles and the washings and the pumping and all that stuff. We just stuck with what we knew while we got through a crazy time of selling our house and moving and unpacking and everything. And then, you know, COVID happens and the world shuts down, and then it's like, why am I going to try to give him a bottle? He's not going anywhere. If I give him a bottle, then I'm just going to have to pump again. So I just kept breastfeeding him. It's what was easier. And now he's almost 11 months old and has never taken a bottle. And so that's something that I did not plan for at all. I never imagined that my son would be almost a year old and have never taken a bottle. He does take a sippy cup of water. I did try to put some breast milk into a sippy cup one time, and he was so offended by that. But, you know, he's 11 months old and exclusively breastfed. Never had a bottle. It's interesting. So those are things that I did not plan to do differently with my second child. I wonder if I have a third, what will I end up doing differently? Because even with him, I'm like, I think things have gone really well. He's healthy, he's thriving, he's a happy baby, he's taking a good nap right now. You know, I have no plans of doing things differently with a child in the future, but, you know, life is weird and throws curveballs, and you learn new things or do things differently, and yeah, so that's the 6 things I did differently with my second child than I did with my first. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. As always, remember to live honestly, and I will see you soon.